On the morning of December 1st, 1948, a man was found dead on a beach in South Australia. He was leaning peacefully against the seawall in a perfectly pressed suit, his legs crossed, and an unlit cigarette resting on his collar as if it had slipped from his lips. This was post-war Adelaide, plaster of the man's original death mask. Science identified him as Carl Webb, a 43-year-old electrical engineer and instrument maker from Melbourne. Knowing his name, however, did little to explain the circumstances of his death. The identification only highlighted a stranger reality. Carl Webb had gone to extreme lengths to ensure he could never be found. The morgue examination revealed a man who had been methodically scrubbed of his identity. Every label had been cut from his clothing with scissors, the tags on his shirt, his jacket, and even a hidden label inside the waistband of his trousers were all missing. He carried no wallet and no identification. A suitcase traced to him at a nearby train station weeks later was similarly sterilized. Among the neatly packed clothes was a brass stenciling kit, a tool common among merchant sailors, yet it was not registered to any known ship or crew. The initial autopsy provided no clear answers. The pathologist noted a heavily enlarged spleen and congestion in the liver, physical conditions frequently caused by poisoning. Despite these markers, extensive toxicology testing across several months found no traces of a toxin. The pathologist remained certain a rare poison was responsible, but mid-century science could not name it. The lack of physical evidence appears to be a deliberate result. This was a meticulous removal of a person's history, paired with a method of death leaving no signature for the era's labs to find. Months into the investigation, police found a detail they had missed. Inside a tiny, custom-sewn pocket in the man's trouser waistband was a rolled scrap of paper. It bore two words in an elegant typeface: "Tamam shud." The Persian phrase translates to "it is finished." Police traced the scrap to a rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. A local man discovered the book with its final page torn out, thrown into the backseat of his car parked near the beach. Handwritten on the back cover were 5 lines of capital letters. Despite decades of analysis by cryptographers, this sequence remains unbroken. Below the code was a telephone number belonging to a nearby nurse, given the pseudonym Justin. When police showed Justin a plaster cast of the dead man's face, she was visibly shaken, yet she maintained she did not know him. Detectives at the time left convinced she was concealing a connection. The proximity to the Woomera rocket range and an unbreakable cipher fueled a long-standing theory that the man was a Cold War spy. This was bolstered by the fact that Justin's son shared 2 extremely rare genetic anomalies with the dead man. The 2022 DNA breakthrough, however, changed the narrative. Testing confirmed that Carl Webb had no biological relationship to Justin's son, effectively dismantling the primary evidence for the secret family spy theory. This leaves the case in a strange state. Removing the espionage angle doesn't explain the nurse's reaction or why an electrical engineer from Melbourne carried a code that no one can solve. Without the spy framework, we are left with the documented records of Carl Webb's final years. He was an engineer whose life was unraveling. He had a history of financial struggles, a marriage that had collapsed, and an estrangement so complete that his own family never reported him missing. These personal crises suggest a more solitary tragedy. The evidence points toward a man who orchestrated a suicide using a substance specifically chosen to be undetectable. The removed labels and the lack of a wallet appear to be a final, successful attempt at self-erasure. He chose to vanish from the records of his life entirely. Within this context, the Tamam Shud scrap functions as a literal statement of intent. The book of poetry was a quiet declaration that his personal history had reached its end. Carl Webb succeeded in becoming a ghost, but the unusual methods he used to ensure his anonymity had the opposite effect. They created a mystery that made him one of the most studied figures of the 20th century. Science gave him back his name, but his reasons for leaving remain his own.